I take 152 days off a year, and my business has never run better. If that sounds irresponsible to you, that's exactly the problem you and I need to talk about. Here's what's actually happening. With most founders I work with, their calendar is 80% reactive. Meetings they don't ask for, fires they don't start, status updates that could have been asymmetric message. They open their laptop in the morning and the day is already gone, planned by other people for other people's priorities. And if you're between 1 and 5 million, this hits different, because at that stage, you're the bottleneck for every decision and the backup for every system that hasn't been fully built out yet. Your calendar isn't just full, it's full of wrong things, and you can feel it, even if you can't name it. If you don't redesign the calendar before you try and redesign the business, you're going to keep scaling on fumes, and fumes produce bad decisions, slow thinking, and the kind of chronic fatigue that makes every problem feel twice as big as it actually is. Your calendar isn't a scheduling tool, it's a strategy document. And right now, most founders' strategy documents are saying, I don't trust anyone to do this. I'm Camper Bull, and I've spent 20 years helping founders scale companies. And the single biggest unlock I've seen isn't better funnel or a smarter hire. It's a founder who learns to protect their time like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. Today, I'm showing you exactly how I structure my calendar and why taking 152 days off isn't a luxury. It's actually a strategy. Every morning I open my calendar, and almost every morning it looks exactly the way I designed it to look the week before. Not because I don't have a lot going on, I do, but because I have someone whose entire job includes protecting that calendar. That wasn't always the case. 3 years ago, I was a founder who said yes to everything, every call, every quick 15 minutes, every lunch that was really a pitch meeting. I'd end a week having been 30 plus hours in meetings and wondering why I hadn't moved anything important forward. I was busy every single day and strategically maybe worked about 2 hours a week. The turning point was embarrassingly simple. I sat down one Sunday night and counted not my revenue, not my pipeline. I counted the number of hours of the week I spent on work that only I could do. The thinking, the creating, the decisions that actually moved the business. The number was 4. 4 hours out of 50 plus. Everything else was work someone else could have handled, meetings I didn't need to be in, or recovery time I really wasn't taking. That's when I made the decision that changed everything. I stopped treating my calendar like a container for other people's requests and started treating it like a strategy document. I categorized every day. I hired someone to enforce those categories. And I built 152 days a year, weekends, plus additional block days, where I'm completely off, not checking email from the beach, off, actually off. People hear that number and think it's about work-life balance. It's not. It's about decision quality. The days I'm off are the ones that make the days that I'm actually working worth something. And here are 3 actions to turn your calendar from a to-do list into a strategy. Action item 1, categorize every day by function. If you only do one thing after this video, do this. Stop treating every day like the same kind of day. I run 3 categories. Deep work days. These are for thinking and creating that only I can do. Strategy, content, high-level client work, no meetings, no Slack, no phone, nothing. I protect these days like they're revenue, because really they are. Admin days. These are for meetings, the calls, the operational stuff that has to happen. I batch it. All of it goes on the same days, so it doesn't bleed into everything else. And then recovery days. These are full rest days off, not light days, not I'll just check my email. Off, brain off, business off. And here's what most founders get wrong. They try to do all 3 things in the same day. Creative work in the morning, meetings at noon, maybe an hour of rest in the evening. That doesn't work. Context switching kills deep work. The meetings eat the creative energy, and the recovery never actually recovers anything because your brain is still half in business. I had a founder implement this last quarter. She went from 0 protected deep work days to 2 per week. In her first month, she finished a product roadmap that she'd been stalling on for, who knows, 6 months, because she finally had around 4 unbroken hours to think about it. Same founder, same business, same number of hours, completely different results. The rule: A day can only be one thing. If it's deep work, nothing else gets in it. If it's admin, own it. Stack the calls, clear the inbox, get it done. If it's recovery, recover. Action item number 2, hire a calendar guardian. Action 2 is the force multiplier. Whether this is a real person or AI, and it's the one thing that makes founders uncomfortable. Get someone whose job it is to protect your calendar, not manage it. Protect it. In fact, there's a running joke in my company that I don't even own my calendar. Lorraine runs it, and there's a difference. A calendar manager books things. A calendar guardian's default answer is no. Their job is to enforce the categories from action 1. Deep work days, nothing gets scheduled, period. Someone wants a quick call, it goes to the next admin day. Client emergency, the guardian assesses whether it's actually an emergency or just feels like one. And 90% of the time, it's not. This can be called an EA, a chief of staff, an ops person, or it can even be AI. The person who takes this on as part of their role. The title doesn't really matter. What matters is someone other than you is the gatekeeper, because you will always say yes. That's not a character flaw. This is a founder instinct. You built this thing by being available, but what you got to get to 1 million will bury you at 3. I'll tell you what happened the first month I did this. I had a client request, a meeting on deep work day. Lorraine said no and offered the next admin day. 2 days later, the client, they pushed back. And Lorraine held. The meeting happened 2 days later and nothing bad happened. Nothing. The urgency, it was manufactured. And I got 6 hours of unbroken strategic work that day that would have been traded for a 45-minute call that I didn't need to take. Scaling cannot depend on heroic availability. If a business only works when you're always on, you haven't built a business, you've built a job with a lot of overhead. Action 3, schedule recovery before you schedule output. This is counterintuitive, and it's the one thing that makes the whole system kind of sustainable. When you plan a quarter, block recovery days first, before the deep work, before the admin, before the client commitments. Put the days off on the calendar and then build everything else around it. Most founders do the opposite. They fill calendar with output. They hope there's time left over for the rest. There is never time. And so they run 6 months, hit a wall, take a forced break because their body, their relationships, or their judgment just gives out, and they start the cycle all over again. It's not a strategy, it's a pattern of managing crises. And here's the math that changed my thinking. 152 days a year sounds like a lot, until you realize that's weekends plus about 40 additional days. That's roughly 1.5 days off a week, plus 2 longer breaks. In exchange, the 213 days I'm working, I'm operating at a level I couldn't when I was grinding through 364 days a year. My thinking, it's sharper. My decisions are faster. My patience with my team is better. I haven't missed a revenue target since we started doing this. And in fact, my customers know when I'm doing this, and they plan for conversations, strategic conversations, after I take these breaks, because I'm sharper and better. One more thing on this. When I say off, I mean off. Not working from a different location, not just reading industry stuff, off. And the research is pretty clear on this. The psychological detachment from work is what actually restores cognitive function. Checking email from a couch isn't recovery, it's work in a less comfortable chair. We protect recovery because it protects decision quality. Full stop. Every good decision I make on Monday is funded by the weekend I actually took. And this could mean that I'm actually in a tent, camping, but I make better decisions because of it. If you want a calendar strategy planner, the actual template I use to categorize my days and the ruled calendar Guardian follows the quarterly recovery first planning framework that was really first discovered by Strategic Coach. It's in the description and pinned to the comments. Block 30 minutes this weekend to map your next month using it. Your future self will thank your current self. 3 things. 1, categorize every day as deep work, admin, or recovery. A day can only be one thing. 2, get a calendar guardian whose default answer is no, because you will always say yes. 3, schedule your recovery time first, then build your work around it. Do that and your calendar stops being a to-do list other people wrote for you and starts being the strategy document your business actually needs. Quick gut check. Pull up your last week. How many hours were spent on work that only you can do? Drop that number in the comments and be honest. I'm reading every one. Once your calendar is restructured, watch the video on the screen next. It's about Ownership Scorecard, the tool that measures whether your business is actually delivering what you started it for. Because a protected calendar is how you create space. The scorecard is how you make sure the space is being used for what matters. Click the video and I'll see you there.
Thanks for tuning into today's episode on the Strategy Session, where we take your business from stuck to unstoppable. Here's another video I think you'd enjoy. If you found these insights valuable, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications on our latest videos. Remember, you're not just marketing, you're making history with Venture Gained.